Our topic for today is leveraging influencer marketing for revenue. Now, the main agenda behind this event is to create more awareness about the new products or services in the market. And through these webinars, you can get connected to our experts and hence build a good relationship with them. Today's webinar is beneficial for businesses and business owners who are willing to understand the benefits of influencer marketing and grow their business ahead. Now, moving forward, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Santosh Kumar, who is a product sales director at Corus. He is a seasoned sales professional with an impressive 12-year track record in the field. His extensive experience holds various aspects of the sales domain, including pre-sales, key account management, and growth-focused roles. Santosh has navigated diverse industries, starting from corporate merchandise to banking and technology sales, while demonstrating remarkable adaptability and a versatile skill set. He has successfully contributed as an individual performer and has also managed diverse teams, consistently delivering tangible value for both current as well as past organizations. Santosh brings a strategic mindset and a result-driven approach to every venture. So without further delay, I'd like Santosh to take this forward. Santosh, over to you.
Thank you, Nishita. Very humbling introduction there. Again, I've had the good fortune of working across companies which gave me the opportunity to try things that I wanted to, and at the end of which both of us ended up making value at an individual level and at an organization level. Right? I think that's why I should be very fortunate for the companies, for the teams, for the managers, for the colleagues that I worked so far. Right. Coming to the topic that we wanted to go through and we wanted to discuss as well today, right? Essentially, what we have seen is over a period of time, we have seen marketing also evolve, right? We've heard of times when ads were predominantly in newspapers and then radio and then other mediums afterwards. Right now, in fact, there are ads on our phone any given moment, right? You're playing the game, you're looking at a e-commerce website, there are ads that come through and take your attention away. So essentially, how you market yourselves, how you market your products and services also has evolved over a period of time. Right? And one of the most interesting, upcoming, and also promising formats, if I had to call that, is what is broadly called as creator marketing / influencer marketing. Right? Again, is influencer marketing is influencer marketing something that is completely new? All of us know it is not, right? Again, I remember of my school days when I used to see Sachin come and talk about a Boost as a product on TV, right? So influencers were there at a very large level, and also at a level which was, not something that would affect me at a local level, right? Somebody who's a national icon, somebody who's a politician, a movie artist, a music label guy, that is who would be an influencer. But we've arrived at a situation now, we've arrived at a state now where the person next to me on the flight could also be an influencer, right? And in fact, me also in some cases, if I can consider myself that also could be a possibility, right? Why is it promising? Why is it also interesting, right? The possibility for you to get inputs in terms of, what should you be eating for dinner? Let's say something very simple, right? I'm a couple of hours away from my dinner. Or something as complicated as, should I invest in mutual fund? Should I invest in a gold bond? Should I invest in something else, right? All of these are aspects that were earlier very difficult to access or complicated to understand as well, right? What influencers / creators have done today is make it simpler, make it easier, make it also convenient. All of this in one single shot, right? Which is why, again, the way I see things, I've been with Corus for about 1.5 years, just about to complete 2 years now. And what I see happen is the evolution towards influencer / creator marketing as the next big thing. And which is why I wanted to join you guys today, run you through, what's happened so far, what do we see coming up, and, where do we see going ourselves, right? And even in terms of something as simple as the topic of the discussion as well, right? Like you mentioned earlier, influencer marketing for revenue, right? The evolution in terms of what is the outcome expected of the entire exercise has also changed over time. Initially, I just wanted a celebrity to endorse me, and that's it, right? I wouldn't consider a down the funnel sale event as an outcome of that exercise. But now we've also gotten to a stage where influencers are using affiliate links, putting it up on their posts so people can go ahead, download, install, buy, and do multiple other instances. And the influencer, in fact, gets paid for those sale events as well, right? So the evolution has been quite significant. So that is the premise, that is the background I come from for the discussion today. If there is any questions in between, if there's anything that you want to ask, please put them in comments. I think Nishita can pick them up and collate that for after. But otherwise, I'll quickly run you through. I'll keep it very simple, very easy to understand, and run you through. Yeah. So just give me a minute. I will quickly share my screen. Please do let me know when you see that as well. Okay, my screen should be up and running any moment now.
Perfect.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Nishita. Let me just pull it up. So essentially, again, coming to the topic of the day's discussion, right? What we're looking at is revenue from influencer marketing as a medium, as a channel, right? And essentially, what I've broken down my flow also today is into 3 different aspects. Number 1 is background. Again, what happens in most cases is when we get into a discussion, we generally either ignore or don't even bother about, the background, the context of, where, why, what, how, all of these pieces, right? Why do I consider that important is because for you to do something today, you need to understand what used to happen yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, right? Which is why I will first run you through background. Then also context in terms of, what exactly is influencer marketing, what do you do there, what happens there, what are the outcomes, all of those pieces. While at the end of all of this, I would want to give you a quick sneak peek of what we have built so far and what we're also offering to partners as well for their own implementation or execution at the end of the day. Yeah. So I'll quickly start off. When you look at background, right? When I look at background for influencer marketing as something that is innovative, something that is interesting, something that is coming up, what I am initially looking at is the evolution of advertising itself, right? What we see here is different formats that were being utilized, different formats that were being leveraged to talk about a certain product, a service to end users at the end of the day, right? What we started off is with simple signs. Again, a placard here, a flyer here, a postcard here, and all of those pieces. Leaflets, and then advertisements in newspapers, magazines. Once technology came in, once radio and other electronic media became a lot more accessible, we moved into radio, television, websites. And again, like I was telling you earlier, all of us have a device on us now, right? Any moment, any point of the day, any given time of the day, we have a device, whether it is our smartwatches, whether it is our phones, whether it is our laptops, there is something digital on us always. So your ability to look at products and services and the ability of those brands to target you at any point of time becomes even more easier, even more convenient, right? Running through a couple of examples, I've put this piece together, where as you can see on the left, first, on the foremost image that you have visible here, right? This is an image, this is a picture from Pompeii. Pompeii, again, if I had to give you context, Pompeii was a city that was buried because of a volcanic explosion several hundred, several thousand years ago, right? But what you see even here is paintings, is a way of projecting as to what is available from that place as an enterprise, right? Furthermore, as you move forward, as you evolve as an ecosystem, what you also see is leaflets, advertisements in the newspaper, and as of today, advertisements on your phone, on your laptop, on your TV, and all digital devices, right? This is one side of the story in terms of how it has evolved in terms of the mediums that were being utilized for advertising a product or service. The next step, again, another point of view for the entire thing, is how has consumption happened over the last decade, right? Again, I've taken a time frame between 2011 to 2021, about 10 years in total across the last decade, right? What we see here is consumption in terms of media across these years and how either they have increased or they have decreased in terms of volume, right? What you see here, a very clear indication is television. Again, when you look at 10 years ago, television was a primary source of information, primary source of advertisements, products, services, knowledge, all of these pieces put together, right? But what we see is from a 57%, a majority share in terms of your own attention, television has come down to about 35, 38%. When you look at something as ubiquitous as mobile today, right? 10 years ago, it hardly had about 10% share in terms of your own attention. And what's happened over the past several years is it's almost grown by 5, 6, 7, 8 times what it was 10 years ago, right? What we see here is essentially an evolution in terms of where are people spending time. And if that is where people are spending time, that is where brands are also going and advertising for their products and services, correct? Hence, what you see is money moving away from your traditional media channels, which is your TV, your radio, your newspapers, and all of that. In fact, magazines is almost nil right now, right? It's about 2% in the entire equation. And something as interesting as a mobile as medium becoming almost like a 40% major share of your attention, major share of spends from brands as well, right? And the next slide that I will run you through should also give us a sense of, what is the kind of money that is being spent, invested rather, on influencer marketing as a channel, right? We saw evolution across mediums. We saw evolution across attention. And what we are looking at now is the amount or the value that is being invested in influencer marketing as a channel, right? And what you see here is values in terms of $1 billion. And this is for across the spends that have happened across the world. And as you can see here, in a very short span between 2018 to 2023, 2024, in fact, now about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you see that the value has gone up from about 8 billion plus or minus to about $37 billion. Again, a very simple math puts us at about 4x or 5x the spend that used to happen just about 4 years ago, right? Giving us a sense of what is the value, what is the importance that is being attached to influencer marketing as a channel, as a medium, right? Second piece of what I wanted to run you through is the evolution and the context when it comes to specifically influencer marketing as a channel, as a medium, right? And what I will run you through here is 3 pieces. One is evolution of influencer marketing. What was the thought process when we started? What is it now? What is it today? After which we will look at relevance of influencers. How important is it considered by the people who make those decisions? Mostly marketers, mostly advertisers themselves, right? Post which, let us also look at impact of influencer marketing on brands when they market themselves either for their product or their services as well. What we have here is a very interesting trend that we see, right? When we started off, again, when like I was mentioning earlier, right, 10 years ago, when I was looking at my television, I saw an ad come in and a major sports star, a major movie star came and spoke about something, right? This is where we saw the first baby steps being taken, and we realized, oh, you know what, brands are thinking of, okay, who can be my influencers, and then who can I get to talk about my brands? And over a period of time, what you see is also that basic intention of just having somebody come and talk about yourselves, moving on to what all can I have this influencer do for me, what all can I have this creator do for me afterwards, right? Which is this time range. And now after 2016 and beyond, in fact, COVID was one such event which triggered such a significant uptake, such a significant increase in this activity. Now brands, advertisers, agencies, all of these individual entities are looking at, what all can I expect, what all can I derive out of the activity that I'm doing with influencers. Again, all this points to outcomes that people expect from a certain action, right? That's something that I told when I initially began. What you see here is evolution in terms of even the expectation of advertisers, expectation of agencies, expectation of brands also. Again, when influencer marketing started off, primary reason why we would bring somebody on board was to ensure, there was brand awareness. People got to know about your brand and that's it, not more than that. Post which you saw, one other additional deliverable, one other additional KPI being added, referring to, is there a possibility for me to reach more people than who I'm reaching already today? Right? That became the second objective of the exercise. After which, as you can see here, is there a way to improve the image of my brand? Then is there a way for me to nudge people who are already looking at my product and are slightly interested? Can I make them buy? That became the objective. And what we see today, right? In fact, there are so many instances of influencer marketers pushing for an actual sale event that you also see the usage of affiliate links, wherein the end goal of the entire exercise is to drive sales. And once somebody's bought it, drive advocacy also. So what we see here is how has advertisers, how has brands mindset changed over a period of time? And also with respect to the expectation of, what is the outcome? What is it that is necessary out of this exercise? Next up is with respect to context, what is the relevance? Who sees, again, when you look at marketers, when you look at agencies, when you look at brands, what is the next big thing that is going to happen, right? What is the fastest growing? What is the next big thing? However you want to call it. And as you can see here, there are multiple channels that are still being used today, right? Again, when marketers rather invest in marketing their products or services, you always end up investing in multiple mediums. And what you see here is exactly that, while also giving you an indication of, influencer marketing is where most of these marketeers themselves, brands and agencies also plan to invest on and scale as well down the line, right? And ultimately, end of the day, every one of us here, in fact, are thinking about, let's say I invest $100, what is the value that I'm going to get in return? Essentially ROI, right? What we see here is also number-driven arguments, where you see that 67% of marketers today believe that your ability to reach the right targeted audience is much better with influencers than any other mediums. In terms of reliance, when an audience end user decides to pick up a product or service, 61% generally rely on reviews, generally rely on discussions, generally relies on topics either on YouTube, Instagram, or any other platform as well, right? And ultimately, when it comes to the value that you invested and the value that you've driven out of the exercise, what you can see here is about an 11x, right? Influencer marketing than when compared to traditional forms, which is, again, very traditional, very old style, which is TV, print, and desktop ads also. This is the kind of relevance, this is the kind of impact, this is the kind of background you can look at for influencer marketing as a channel, influencer marketing as a medium to begin with, right? Moving forward, what I will run you through now is, given all of these challenges, given all of these opportunities, given all of these possibilities, right? What is it that we can do? What is it that I and my firm, my team can bring up to do this in a much more efficient manner, make it a lot more productive, and also make it a lot more easy to do, right? What I have here is a very simple illustration of the problem statements that I'm trying to solve for, and the solutions on the right hand side as well, right? First, I will start off with area of concerns. Basically, what I've done here is I've split my problem statement into 3 use cases, wherein I'm looking at all the basic problems that I might encounter, and then I've split them across categories, I split them across use cases. On the right hand side, what I've mentioned is, for each of these problems, each of these statements that I have and solutions that I have to look for, there are different ways I can look at and solve for them also, right? So again, when you look at influencer marketing as a channel, as a medium, and when you are planning to execute one yourselves, again, given that I was in a couple of minutes early, I also saw that, a lot of you are business owners yourselves, right? So for you to be able to market yourselves, for you to be able to, run these activities yourselves, you go through a very simple set of steps throughout the entire process, right? So when I look at it in terms of a process, in terms of execution, in terms of planning, in terms of all of these pieces, what I'm looking at is, to begin with, I have a certain context. Again, one of the business owners on the group I remember mentioning, I had just started a business where she was making home baked cookies and then pushing it out, right? So the first thing that the lady might want to look at is finding people who are relevant to what she wants to talk about, promote, propagate, project, or position, right? That is where I would be, focusing on one of the areas of concern, which is discovery. Second, once I've discovered a set of people that match my criteria, my context, my ability also to understand in one step forward and do a deep dive and understand, how does this individual perform on the different channels that he is available on, right? Again, when I take example of India as a market, what we see happening with creators is them being on at least 2 or 4 platforms at the most, right? The most prominent ones are YouTube and Instagram. Post which there is Twitter, there is also Facebook from yesteryears, right? All of these platforms have their own way of operations, have their own behavior also, right? So how does this creator behave on this platform? What happens and how did he perform for the past campaigns, for the past work that he's done? And once all of this is done, these 2 steps are taken care of. You found the right person, you've also analyzed if he's, the right individual to take the message forward. You end up working with them, you end up creating content. And the content could again be a very simple image, it could also be a very simple reel, it could also be a 40-minute video of the service or product that you're promoting, right? So with all of these in place, ultimately what you are focusing on, ultimately what you are thinking of pulling in or driving is also the efficiency of the entire activity, right? Understanding what is the performance like, understanding what was the outcome like. So these are 3 broad use cases that I put together, and essentially, thanks to Nishita and Anupama, I've also been allowed to fall back and in fact actually run you through the platform that I am a part of, that I see, so as to run you through real life use cases, and then make you aware of if these are the problems, this is how I can solve for that as well, right? So I'll quickly stop sharing my screen, stop running you through the deck, and quickly bring up a screen where I can run you through the platform as well. Yeah, just give me 1 moment. So you guys should be able to see my screen just about now.
Yes, Santosh, all good.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Nishita. Thank you. So like I was mentioning, right, I'm looking at 3 broad use cases. One is discovery, where I'm trying to find people that match my context, that match my criteria, that are also the best placed to project, promote, propagate my product or service. That's use case number 1. Use case number 2 is analytics, where I look at what is all the information that I can pull and essentially use that to make my decision better, faster, productive, efficient, and optimized also, right? So what I will run you through is each of these use cases in their own capacities, and also run you through different instances that you can do as well, right? So what we are looking at is the platform that we've built and is available to our partners across India and the Middle East now. What we have available on the left-hand side is different tabs. Again, just like how I spoke about, of the flow of an influencer marketing campaign or any campaign for that matter. You initially start off with discovery. You find the people, then you get into deep dive, analyze more, and then once the analysis is over, you've shortlisted people, you end up working with them, produce content, and then measure for the performance that's happened so far. Correct? So what we're doing here, what we're looking at here is your ability to search, your ability to find the relevant influencers for yourselves. And that is what I will run you through first, right? What you're seeing here is different platforms or different channels that the platform can give you access to. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Again, Instagram and YouTube being the most popular in India, while also Twitter and Facebook do have some residual value, and there is still some work happening on these platforms as well, right? And again, like any other search engine, a very simple tab, a very simple search bar where you can put in context and you can find the people that are relevant for your use case, right? So when I was running you through the discovery phase, right, the instances that I showcased, meaning, your ability to find people with a different set of instances is what I'm going to run you next. What you can see here, again, 3 different use cases, right? Number one, you already know of somebody that you want to work with. Again, let's say I'm running a campaign which is oriented towards fitness, which is oriented towards wellness. What I know is I have a couple of people already in mind. Somebody who comes to my mind who's super fit, who's also a fitness enthusiast, who's also a very well-known sportsman, is a cricket personality from India, right? I know the name, I know the individual, I put in his name, and I'm able to find him. So this is use case number one, where you already know the influencer that you ideally want to work with, and you want to just analyze, right? Find his profile, open it up, you should be able to deep dive and find that individual. Number two is also when you have a broader sense of things. Let's say you're looking for somebody who can talk about either an upcoming retail outlet, either an upcoming product that is, a handloom product, a hand-woven, handmade product as well, right? So you broadly know the category from which you want to pick people up, and that is what you are going to do here. Essentially, let's say lifestyle. I search for the keyword and I find that there is a category that is available within which I can find people who match my criteria. After which, there are also instances where your requirement, your use case, your necessity could be very niche in terms of requirement, right? So let's, again, I'm taking an example of somebody like an Adobe, somebody like an NVIDIA, where either they're looking for an animator or an illustrationist, right? What we've been able to pull together and make available for our partners is the ability to find influencers, find creators, also via keywords. Number one, we did it with direct names. I had somebody's name in mind, I put it up, I got data for that. Number two is a broad category wherein I put the category in and I'm able to pull that list out. And also number three is a certain keyword that I can go ahead, put in and pull off as well. Right? As you can see here, I have the keyword put in, and what I can search for is influencers mentioning illustration as a keyword, right? What I'll do now is I'll quickly click here and then run it through the search results that we've generated so far. To draw your attention on the left-hand top side, again, you see that this is Instagram that we're searching for influencers on. And the keyword that I've used is illustration. Even within the keyword of illustration, what I also have the ability to do is to fine-tune my requirement, fine-tune my search result also. And how I can do that is by mentioning, okay, this is a minimum number of times that I need this to be mentioned for him to be considered relevant, right? That is what I'm doing here. I can again increase or decrease the volume of mentions here. Let's say I pick up a 25 as the minimum threshold, right? As you can see here, the number of profiles are a lot more refined, are a lot more shorter for you to look at and then analyze. Another advantage that the platform brings to you as an advertiser, as a business owner, is your ability to find and understand those content mentions also. Because again, I could be talking about a certain pet project of my own, a hobby of my own, and I could be just mentioning illustration as a group word, as a group keyword, right? Which is where what you can also do is click on the content mention and end up looking at the content pieces and get a sense of, if this individual mentioned illustration, did it really mean either in the form of drawing, either in the form of drawing, or either in the form of animation or any of those formats. And as you can see here, this is somebody that is right bang on in terms of the creator that you would ideally want to find, right? Everything that is put up, everything that is made a mention of are referring to content pieces which are creative in nature, which are also either in the form of a drawing, which you can see here, illustration, paintings, and other formats as well, right? This, again, gives you a very strong handle in terms of, finding the right people that match your context to the very T, right? Again, are we happy? Are we comfortable doing this and saying, oh, there are 3 ways of finding people, that's it, you should be able to achieve your goals, right? Definitely no. As a platform, as a team, what we also thought of is, okay, these are basic criteria that you might want to leverage and find people, right? What if you want to go one step further and do more? Which is where what we also have enabled, again, there are a certain set of basic filters which you can put in. Let's say somebody who comes with location filters, somebody who says, I want influencers from a certain gender to begin with. What is most important and what is something that I want to draw our attention towards is audience filters. Again, like I mentioned, there are basic filters, there are advanced filters. Via advanced filters, your ability to also find an influencer, a creator, with a certain following as well, right? What we see here is advanced filters, and this pertains to the audience that he has at the end of the day, right? And your ability to also say, okay, find me an individual who's on Instagram, number one, talks about illustration, number two, also has a predominantly female following and a minimum relevance of 50% or more, coming from a certain country, which is in this example, India, and a certain city also, right? So in terms of your own ability to fine tune, refine, and even go further into your search criteria, the platform makes it all of that possible, right? I can in fact put in a Delhi, a Mumbai, popular cities in India, large cities in India, and go ahead and search for those folks. So what you saw earlier, we started off with about 1,000 odd profiles. Then we came down to about 700 odd profiles. And now what you see here is a very, very refined, very, very compact, very, very focused list of about 187 influencers, right? Close to 200 influencer profiles overall. So this is the level of optimization you can achieve. This is the level of specialization you can achieve via the tool, and also make your need, your requirement of finding the right influencer for the product or service that you are offering quicker. All of these profiles are something that pertains to your use cases, and you can look at each one of them and also look at understanding them even better. So this broadly covers the discovery piece, wherein we went through three basic instances. Number one, a name search, wherein you already had somebody in mind, you just want to find them, get a sense of who they are, and then move on. Second is running a broad search, wherein you are doing a category search to find these folks and then analyze thereafter. And number three is also keyword search, meaning a very clear, very focused, very refined search, which exactly gets you the individual that you're looking for. Correct? On top of which, again, as a platform, we went ahead and even built more and more functionalities, like the advanced audience filter. Essentially, after all of these, you still have available levers to make it even more refined, make it even more focused. Okay. So this is where we conclude the discovery piece, the ability to discover people, via keywords, via categories, via names, all of these instances and all of these examples, scenarios, right? What I will walk you through next is your ability to get deep into the profile and also understand him even further, further of it, right? So what I will do now is I've already opened up a profile from before. I was talking to you about Virat Kohli, a very well-known sports person from India. And what we will do now is we will move into the second use case, which is the analytics piece. And right away, once you arrive at the profile, right, what you see happen here is essentially a profile summary, giving you a sense of what all platforms is he available on. You can see there are 3 platforms that he's available on, keeps talking about, and puts content out. You can also see what kind of content he generally ends up talking about. Again, given that he's a very popular, well-known, successful sports person, you see he, most cases, 50% or more talks about sports to begin with. Then cricket in specific as a sport as well. Health and fitness, because Virat Kohli also is somebody who has a brand of his own which focuses towards fitness as a category, and then other pieces that he ends up talking about, posting about, and all of those pieces. Apart from which, again, a very interesting outcome of this exercise is also the ability to understand which is the brand that he is talking about the most in his posts as well, right? As you can see here, you can break it down by 2 variants. One is looking at a certain vertical, let's say gaming, and then finding a partner that he's worked with or he's spoken about earlier. or also removing this and getting a sense of, all those different brands that he's spoken about in the past. Again, what you can do here is click on the brand and you immediately have access to all the different posts that he's done in the past 3 years, up to in the past 3 years, right? Toggle between different platforms. Again, I can look at content that he's posted for Twitter. I can look at Facebook. I can look at Instagram as well. Again, the most trending, the most popular right now in India is Instagram, which is why I'm running you through. After which, you can also click on the specific work that he's done so far, the content piece, and get redirected to Instagram where the content is available for your understanding and analysis also. This is at a very basic level, again, a very surface level. Where does the platform come in even more handier is your ability to deep dive further into every single medium he's available on and analyze even further, right? What we see here is different platforms that he's on and deep dive into each one of these individual platforms also. Again, coming back to the left-hand side, what we see here is different pieces: overview, engagement, content, audience, growth, brands, your ability to download the file, your also ability to go to Instagram profile and view details further. Something that I consider as being very important, something that I consider as being very, very interesting also is the audience bit. While there are other pieces that we can run through, audience becomes super important because it adds one extra layer of context as well, right? And as you can see here, again, what I'm looking at is, who is Virat Kohli and where is his audience coming from also. As you can see here, most of these audiences are coming from Mumbai as a city. As you can see, 14.13%. When it comes to a state level understanding of where these audiences are coming, predominantly Maharashtra, which is also his home state, which is also one of the largest states in India, right? Most of the audience that this individual brings along is from India, while there are also people from other places as well. Predominantly, again, what you see here is his followers are predominantly male, right? And when you look at age group that these guys fall in, it's about 25 to 34 is the age group where they fall in and become relevant. Second, going one more step further, I also get a sense of, if audiences are coming from a certain state, certain city, certain country. I'm looking at cities broken down by different cities in India. I can also look at different cities, states, and get an understanding of which state brings most of the audience. As you can see here, Maharashtra is 30%, quite a large volume. And when you come down countries, 91% of them is from India, some of them Pakistan also, Bangladesh, which are also some of the countries which are cricket playing nations, countries by themselves, right? Apart from which, the last bit with respect to audience is also your understanding of what age group do these audiences fall into also. Again, there is 13 to 17, there is 18 to 24, but what is most interesting is the folks between 25 to 34. Again, if I'm looking at it as a brand that offers a product, I'm looking at a certain demographic which is actually working, just gotten into working or have been 5 years, 10 years old in their careers, and have the ability to spend on a certain product or a service. So this is something that is close to 50%, almost a majority of his audiences are in that prime range, and which is what you might ideally want to target as well down the line. Again, when it comes to, can you pick up Virat Kohli for a female-oriented product? I'm afraid not as much, because females only constitute about 25 to 30% of his audience overall. What you can rather focus on is, let's say, an automobile brand, right? Somebody who drives bikes, somebody who drives cars, somebody who drives all of these things, right? Male-oriented products, all of these is something where you can leverage him and promote your own brand, promote your own service as well. This is one of the most important pieces that I feel is what is relevant to you as an advertiser, to you as a business owner. Apart from which, again, something that I've started hearing about a lot more frequently, hearing about a lot more regularly, is also a sense of, are these users genuine? Are these users real people? Right? Again, a very valid question that advertisers bring up with us. And what you have access to in terms of information to understand that piece as well is the follower growth trend. Essentially, a snapshot into acquisition of audience that he's had in the past 3 years, which can also be broken down to as little as 3 months in the past and get a sense as well, right? So let's say I'm looking at 6 months, you can get a sense of how acquisition of users has happened over a period of time and how has the audience pool, audience universe grown over a period of time. What I see here is a fairly organic, fairly natural, consistent acquisition of audience over a period of time, essentially giving me an understanding that nothing seems out of place, nothing seems as it is being fraudulent, because there is no sudden jumps or no sudden falls also in terms of the acquisition trend. Like I said, audience and growth, these two play a very important role in your understanding of who an influencer is. Is that somebody relevant that you want to end up engaging and working with afterwards also, right? Similarly, each of these pieces, again, engagement gives you a sense of, who is he like, what are the different kinds of formats that he works on, and how does each of these perform. Some of the basic parameters like, how does the likes to comment ratio work, reels to view follower, reviews to follower ratio, all of these ratios operate. And then apart from which, brands split by Instagram as a channel also, and your understanding of that piece as well, right? Similarly, you can do things, perform your analysis for Twitter and Facebook as a channel also. Though again, like I was mentioning earlier, Facebook as a marketing / advertising channel is losing favor. And you see more of those dollars coming into Instagram, YouTube, and again, when you consider the Middle East, TikTok and Snapchat also become very relevant, right? So this is with respect to an individual's profile, an individual's data that you have access to, and understanding also.
Sorry to
And
interrupt,
again,
Santosh. Sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
we have just 5 minutes left for wrap up.
Sure. I shouldn't be going beyond. Thank you. Yeah. So one last piece that I want to run you through is also your ability to, get a sense of, okay, can I compare an apple versus another apple? Understand each of these, right? What we've recently rolled out also as a feature addition is your ability to compare the performance or compare the statistics of influencers across each one of them and across different platforms that they're available on also. Again, starting off with Instagram, you can see all of them are available on Instagram. But as you move towards the other platforms, you can see some of them have presence, some of them don't. Right? That's something that you can visibly notice and otherwise, right? See, there is no data points here for Twitter as a channel. Whereas when you look at Instagram, all of these profiles have data available. What this essentially allows you to do is to look at an overview, compare all of these people in one single place, and get a sense of all of these data points. Something that was important, like I was telling you earlier, also is the growth metric when it comes to audience acquisition. And as you can see here, 30 days, in the last 30 days, they've acquired about 27% in terms of uptake, 3% in terms of uptake, 18%. But this is one individual that has not, picked up any new audiences at all. Essentially, a factor which can come in handy when you say, oh, I want to work with an influencer who's growing in terms of stature, who's growing in terms of following points. So this is with respect to analysis. Like I said, 3 broad use cases. Discovery was number 1. Discovery is the most important, most relevant of all. Then you get one further step and look at analytics as well for each of these profiles. And once you are fairly sure that this is whom you want to operate with, then you go forward and look at running a campaign, creating content, taking it live, and reporting their performance as well. So this broadly, helps me run you through each of these use cases, each of these phases. And I would like to stop here and open up the floor for questions if any.